Okay, what I want to talk about today is the tops of some of the hats. People have been having a little bit of confusion, and I thought I might try to do it, show you how I chart that up and how that gets knitted up. So here's one of the tops, and one of the things I do is I use a central, and it's probably not the best one. Let's find another one. Yeah, you can see here. I use a central double decrease, and we'll show it in a chart in just a minute. I use a central double decrease to create a raised sort of spine for each one of these pie shapes that go into the top of this hat. This is just a, probably too far away, but anyway, it's just a tam kind of thing. So that's what that is. Here's another one here. Sometimes you can make them stand out like that last one a little bit. Sometimes you can make them disappear, but they still are there sort of in texture, and to accent these pie shapes that shape the top of the crown of these hats. Now all of these are going to be in a hat collection. So so here is this one. This one is real subtle. Sometimes, as I said, you can make them the same color as the background and just have a little bit of texture. And other times, like in this one, you can actually use them to create a spine. I've got another hat. I think I'll put that in here at the top of which it was for something else, and I had to give it to the person who I made it for. But here is a chart of a typical hat. Let's get these out of the way so I can do this. A typical hat crown of one of my patterns. This is the repeat right there. Okay, that's in this case it's 24 inches. 24 stitches. Okay, that's the crown. That is the shape of the pie, and that is the spine. And you'll see on there. This little image right there, you'll see it in white against the dark. That is the symbol for a central double decrease. And we'll look at that in just a minute. But this is, I did this here so you could kind of see, because of the way the central double decrease works, it eats, what it does is it eats one stitch out of each one of these sides, therefore pulling that together to make this spine here. And a lot of times you'll see hats and points like this done where they'll make the 24 stitches or the pie like this, where you'll do SSK and K2 tog on the sides here, which pulls it in. I actually like this method better by making your decreases straddle the repeats, because, and I'll tell you why, if you do it this way, when you come back around to the last repeat, if you have 6, 7, or 8 repeats, on the last repeat, when you're knitting the second half of this pie, you are knitting in the spiral so that this doesn't line up. It's that jog that goes. So I'd rather have them all line up. If I'm going to jog, I'm going to jog on here, and it's not as obvious, if that makes any sense. So let's take a look. I'm going to make this go a little bit closer and kind of look at what that central double decrease is. First of all, you'll see that this is the end of one repeat, and this is the start of the second repeat of 24, and this is the end of the first repeat of 24 stitches. In this case, this pie shape is 24 stitches. Sometimes you'll find these markers on rounds, like it would be down here, or it will be, you won't see the stitch that's missing. I put the stitch that's missing here as a double reminder, especially when you start the round, which is over here. When you start the round, there's a stitch missing. And that's because it is one of the ones that gets, this is the start of a second repeat, it gets incorporated into this spine, this central double decrease spine. And your instructions will say stop to, lovely fingernails, Brandon. You'll stop to, I can't look at my own fingernails, I'm so sorry. You'll stop 2 rounds before the marker, and you've put a marker in here. So you stop 2 rounds before that marker. which actually, I have to look at that, 2 rounds before the end of the decrease. So you'll knit 22 stitches and stop. In this case, it changes as you decrease. You'll put this stitch that's not there because it'll eventually get incorporated in here. But you put this stitch and this stitch, slide them over to your other needle, and then knit this stitch and then pull that stitch on top of this one, which starts to make the spine. So that the whole decrease includes 2 stitches at the end of one repeat and 1 stitch at the beginning of the next repeat. Okay, so that's just great, except for your very first repeat. You can't, because if the decrease includes the first stitch of a new repeat and the 2 stitches from the repeat before, if this is your start of round here, you haven't done these 2 stitches over here. You haven't done the stitches from the last repeat. So when you get to the last repeat, which is here, you'll put these, obviously this is only 2 repeats, but if you have 6 or 7 of them, you'll put these 2 stitches on the holder, and what you do is you slip that first stitch, and then you go around. When you go back around, you'll knit it and then pull it over the last 2 stitches here. Now, if that's as clear as mud, we're going to try it with needles. Okay? Okay, here we go. I have on here 4 repeats of this pie-shaped crown thing. Obviously, it's not a real hat. I didn't want to do the 7 that I normally have, so I just decided to do 4. And they're on 2 circs. So 2 are on one circ, and the other 2 are on the other one. And when you work this, these kind of hang down. These are kind of all over the place, but isn't that great? When you want to go and look like you know what you're doing, and you pick up your knitting, it looks nutty. I'm trying to be not crazy, not have yarn everywhere like I normally do. But anyway, here we go. So what I have done, though, is instead of doing 2 in the front and 2 in the back, divided evenly, because of the way these central double decreases work, where you use up 2 stitches from one repeat and 1 from the next repeat, I wanted to have each one of those decrease sort of spine things here, I wanted to have them in the middle of a needle instead of on the end here. So I've just split. This is 12, and that's 12, and that's 24, and you get the picture. That's 24, that's 12, and that's 12 between these markers. I also have used cool colored markers, even though that green's not real cool, but blue and green, and then the yellow one is the beginning of round, just in case I lose track. I don't know where I would, but anyway. So, and I've also, which is not very often, but I'm using a light for the light background and a color for the foreground from down here. Okay, so the first thing it says to do here, and here's your let's see if I can't do this. Hold on, we'll do it with this. You're supposed to put a cover up over the round you're getting ready to work. So that's my round I'm getting ready to work right there. Okay, you hit this round and you get to this first stitch, and it's not there. So that's your clue that this is a decrease round, okay? So I am going to slip that first one, and you'll see why. I talked about it, but we'll see it for sure this time. I'm going to slip this one purlwise, okay? And then I'm going to do 2 stitches of the background. So 1, 2, and then 1 stitch, and then 3 of the pattern. 1, 2, 3, and then 7 stitches. You can see in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, get there. There we are. 5, 6, and 7, and then 3 of the background stitch, which is 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 1, and then 1, 2. And the pattern, I usually will say, this marker is at 24. And what I usually say is put the marker through the 24th stitch. But I think instead what's better to do is to slip these two guys over like this. Take that marker off. You work this stitch, and you see how this stitch is in the darker color. You work that stitch in the darker color, and then take these two stitches here and pull them back over that stitch, trying not to split your mark like that. Now, what then, as we come back around, I'm going to put a marker through that where that spine is starting. So 1, 2, 1, 1. I think I've split a stitch. Let's go back and not split that stitch there, or whatever I did there. What did I? Oh, I guess I didn't. Oh, well, anyway. 1. I think that's just a tweedness of that. 1, and then 1, 2, 3. See how lovely? It's got all sorts of little specks on it. And then 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that, hopefully that's right. 4. Oops. Let's just drop the whole thing. That's good. You pull that to the other side. Push this one through. Like that. Okay, bring up the other end of the black needle. There we go. That's here. Get everything in the right hand. Isn't that right? Yeah, okay. What did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, and then 3. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 1. Is that right? Yes. Oh, good. Yeah, there's always that fear when you get to that marker. 1, 2. We're going to slide both of these onto the other needle. Let's make sure we got them both there. Knitwise that way. Drop the marker off. Work that stitch, and the only reason I'm working that with that color is because it's that color there. Otherwise, up here, there's some that one here. I'd work with the white. There. Pull these two stitches over that one, like that, and then we move on. 1, 2. Just go down there and hang down there and behave yourself. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And now the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1. I need to pull this up a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 1, and then 1, 2. Slide these two stitches over onto the other needle. Drop that one off. And you see what that does. That marker was the end of that repeat. And this is the beginning of the next repeat. So that's why I'm eating into that one. And that's where that stitch goes. That's where that stitch went. It went into that decrease. That stitch and that stitch go into the decrease there. So then we go in 1, 2, 1, 1, and then 3, 1, 2, 3. And what I'm doing is, oh, I've knocked that off. Sorry. I should put that back over here. Okay. So I just did, you'll see here, I just did those 3, right? No, I've already done the 7, haven't I? What have I done? Yes, see, you can kind of tell, it kind of stands out a bit. So that's my spine, which is right there. And then 2, I can do it over here, same repeat. 2, 1, 1. So here's my spine, 2, 1, 1, and 3. So now I'm doing the 7 right there on that first round. Get all this back around my needle, my hands, right? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it back this way. Put this one down here, make this one ready to use. All on top of the needle. These guys, technically, this is because I'm holding them to be underneath the camera. If I was sitting and knitting, these would be just hanging down like that way. I think the original, I don't remember whether it was Kat Bordy or who it was that determined this, kind of not made popular, but just sort of documented this way of holding the needles 2 circs. She said the other 2, and I've got a video on this, but the other 2, they just kind of hang down there like udders, which I think is really kind of funny. But anyway, but because I'm having to hold it kind of wonky for the camera, they're curling on themselves here. So, all right, that was 4. And I think my last one was the background, so I've got to go foreground. So, and because I'm switching from one needle to the other, I might, just to give myself a good tension, is that I might go around behind that one and just kind of catch that 5, 6, 7, just so I wouldn't have a gap between the two needles. Then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 1, and then 1, 2, and I am back to the beginning, okay? Now, here it is. We have been taking 2 from the end of the repeat and 1 from the beginning of the next repeat. But this is the first repeat. And so the end of the last repeat and eats into the first of the first stitch of the first repeat, which is why I slipped that one. Because if I had worked that one, they'd be 2 rounds there and not anywhere else. So I slipped that one first. Okay, so these go this way. That drops off, and then now that one that's been slipped is finally being worked. It's worked in the darker color, and then these 2 guys come over the top of that, and that's the end of that round. Now, what I would do just to keep me remembering, I have a warm colored locking stitch marker. If I can get this to work, there it is. And I'm going to put it kind of through. That's the spine, kind of right there. And I'll do this all the way around, or I'll do it when I get to it. How about that? It's just to remind me that that's where it is, just in case you get off. So let's do it when I get there. I'm going to do 1 more round, and then we'll call this. Okay? Real quickly. See if I can't do it quickly. Joggle. Good. All this stuff. So the next round is... there's no decreases on this one, so it is 5. Am I looking at that? 5 of the background. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 4 of the foreground. 1, 2. And I always catch it after 3 or 4, so I'm going to catch it after 4, 3, 4, and then 3 singles, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I know those 3 singles line up same colors on top of each other because that's what that says right there. And then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I should be right on that spine, and I can feel it. It's right there, and I'm going to put a marker in it just because, just in case I'm watching television, I'm not paying attention, I want to make sure I've got that marked. So I'm going to put a marker right through that stitch, right there. And the other ones, you notice I only put half a leg. That's just what I could get. And that color is the background, so I'm going to do that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The expert of you will notice that I've been catching that yarn in the back of the 5th, right there on the 3rd stitch. I've done a catching of long floats right there. So that is 5. Now I do 4 of these. 1, 2, and I have a video for that too. 3, 4, and then 3, 1, 2, and the 3rd one is on the other needle. So, yeah, get off my finger. Go back this way. Okay, bring up the black. Get my yarn situated back again on top and not caught. And then this is the 3rd one. Like this, and I'm going to go behind. I'm going to go behind this, which will nudge. I do that just to kind of catch that, give that a little bit of pulling. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Behind that, around behind it, you see, I could have done that stitch, and I've got a video on this now. I could have done that stitch that way, and this wouldn't be caught, but I can come around behind it. 3, 4, 5, and there's my spine there. So this is going to go through 1 or 2. You just want to mark it in some way, just kind of this, so that you can know when you hit that stitch. It doesn't matter really, but this is the background. And then 1, 2. I know it looks like I am going wrapping twice. I've not really. It's that I'm trying to look through a camera, and sometimes I miss the needle. 2, 3, and now 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 to end it up. 1. Did I use all those? Maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's that spine that I did. I'm going to put 1 more marker through this, right through here, somewhere in there. There we go. Do that with the dark color. Now, this is the last repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. No, 1. 1. Did I do? Something went wrong there. Hold on. Let's back it up. I hate getting to the end of the needle, so everything is not right. What did I do? Oh, I see what I did. I wrapped it. You see what I did? I wrapped it twice. I mean, I wrapped it with a folded piece of yarn instead of one let. There we go. Now, let go. I knew that didn't feel right. This goes in there like that. 1 and 1. Switch to the other needle on this side. Down like this. Last 12 stitches, or now I guess there are only 11 stitches. Oops. Let's put that back where it was. Right there. All right, we're on the gold, the brass needles, chrome other needles that actually can hang down this way. And this is background. And then 1, 2, there you go, 3, 4, and now 5 to end it out. Wouldn't this be a bummer if I got to the very end and it didn't work? There weren't 5 stitches there. That would be really bad. 3, yay, 4, and 5. And now I'm back to the beginning. You can tell because that's where that goes right there. And that actually is, if this is my last repeat, that right there is my last repeat. So I need to my last spine. I need to do that. And so now I've done that, and I can start back over here for row 3. But I'm not going to make you watch me do row 3. So that's it. That's how you do that central double decrease. You can either put the marker through the 24th stitch and just keep it there and work around it depending on your markers. Mine were just kind of unwieldy. So, unwieldy. Anyway, I decided to, you saw what I did, to drop the marker and put it there later. So from this then on, it will work up. This is not the same. It's done the exact same way. That's what I'm creating here, is that spine that goes up right there. And you can see them started, as I said, not the same pattern, but you can see them kind of starting right there and right there. You can see it better on the back because I've got 2 together back here. There's my spine starting there, and there's my spine. You can feel it. It's got bunches. It's got bunch stitches there. All right. I hope that helped. You got any questions, please let me know, because I just think it looks cool. Thanks.